Mhm. Hello, everyone. Almost Shabbat Shalom. We are here again. I'm here again, and after a little break. All right, let's wait a couple of minutes. Hello, everyone. Almost Shabbat Shalom. It is Friday. It is summer, but kind of a funny summer. So I will start, and you who have to be here will be here. Hello, it's all the time the beginning is kind of like exciting. Every beginning is exciting. So today I had a question that is triggered by the portion of the week, Portion Balak. And the question is, can good in general as a term, as a state of being, can that induce evil? Can that, how come? It's good. It's something that is good. How can that create anything that is negative? So this portion of this week, Portion Balak, is about the king of Moab that sees that the Israelites are coming towards his land. And he also heard from what happened, what God did to the Egyptians, and Israel, everywhere they went, they won, and they killed Amalek and all this. So he was like scared. He was like, I don't want to do anything with them. I just want them out of here. I just don't want. I don't want them in my land. So he summons Bilam, who was a prophet, who wasn't part of Israel, but he was a prophet. He had similar powers as is talking in Judaism in like Moses, but on the other side of the curtain. So he he wasn't practicing holiness. He was living with his donkey, not donkey. I don't know how you said the aton, but from the donkey family, right? He was living with his animal, and and he was doing all these things that were not coinciding with God's way or with the Jewish way. And so, but what he did, he was also very strong. He had a control on the evil eye. He had control. He could cast spells. And King of Moab, Balak, called Bilam and told him, listen, I want you to come. And he took him also to the top of the mountain. He said, I want you to see the Israelites as they're coming. And I just want to get them out of my land. I don't want them in my land. So just look at them and curse them and make something happen to them. And so Bilam said, listen, I had an agreement. I will say only what God allows me to say. So also if I want to cast a spell, if whatever comes through, because he had a direct channel, whatever comes through, that's what will happen. I can't promise you anything. But here's the interesting thing. Bilam, the spellcaster, hated Israel and the Jews even more than Balak. Balak, it says, he just wanted them out of his country, just didn't want to deal anything with them. Bilam just hated their guts. He just hated everything that has to do about them. Everything. He hated them. And he just wanted them eradicated. like not a memory of a Jew, nothing. Just wanted them eradicated. And that's the difference between Balak and Bilam. So Bilam told him, listen, I hate them more than I hate their guts. I hate everything about them. So I won't, but I have to say, I have to bring forward only what comes through me. Okay. Turns out that Bilam actually turns out to bless Israel, and he's telling on himself, I wish I will have a straight, righteous death, and my end will be like theirs. And so it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, the king was upset. What did you do? I brought you to curse them, and now you bless them. Instead, I told you, I'm just going to bring forward what comes through. I'm not going to do all kind of things that I'm not allowed to do. And that's what happened. So he ended up blessing, and what he meant by a righteous death is like a smooth death. In the Gemara, there are two examples. The righteous death, a smooth death, is like as if you see, at that time they gave the example, if you see a hair in a glass of milk, all you do is you take your fingers, you take the hair out, and it's done. It's very smooth. And a non-righteous death is, imagine a wool that is entangled with thorns. So when it's entangled, like if a sheep goes in between thorns and try to pull the thorns out, it's pulling the wool out. There's a lot of suffering. So there is a lot of suffering in that kind of a death. It talks about the state and the position of the neshama, our soul, our spiritual being. Our spiritual being talks about our spiritual being. If our spiritual being on earth in this physical was continue to stay spiritual, continue to be true and authentic to our spiritual path, and into goodness and into kindness, then the death is easy, because the soul did not submerge and did not became like one with the material. But if somebody who is living here is like totally about the material and just like submerge everything and is stepping on others and insult, it's just a lot of slew of things, then the soul becomes like almost like merged with this body, with this physicality. And therefore when time comes, the separation is filled with anguish, is filled with sorrow, is filled with pain, and so forth. So that's really what Bilam was wishing upon himself. Was wishing upon himself that his soul will be like that. But what he said is, I want to receive the rewards of Israel in the next world, but I want to live my life like this, which doesn't work. But that brings of course to emphasize the power of the word, that he was able to, with the power of the words, with the evil eye, he was able to cast spells and to cause things to change. But that brings all this thing of why does he hated the Jews and he hated the Israelis so much. That brings also to all this what's happening when somebody hates somebody. And when we see now the anti-Semitism, there is really no science for anti-Semitism. There is no science as why people hate certain people. There is no science about it at all. Okay, and so and as Jewish people, as the Jewish brain, I mean, there's so much, especially when that person, think about. Let's bring it down here. Think about you are in school or you are at work, and there is somebody at work who is bullying you, right? In school, we experienced a lot of bullies. Some parents would tell us, oh, that's because he's jealous of you. And sometimes as a kid, you don't understand that. You don't understand. What do you mean he's jealous of me? What is he jealous of me about? I mean, he's just being bullied, he's just being nasty, and or somebody at work that is constantly putting you down, sending you all kind of funny messages, all kind of like ridiculing messages, all these kind of things. Science, there is no here. There is psychology, but there is no science about it. especially if you, as an employee or as a nation, you contributed so much to the world. You give so much to the world. You give out so much. If we look at the Jewish brain, it's like the scientists, the science invention, technology, I mean, medical, everything. There's so much that was contributed to the world. Jews don't have a jihad. We don't call on the extinction of other people. We don't, even the army is called Tzva Hagana Israel, the Israeli Defense Force. It's about defense. It's not about attacking. It's not about. So what is the explanation for that good, that somebody who is good at work, at the office, and then they are inducing people to be evil, people to hate you? So if we were to go back to Bilam knew that, yes, he's spiritual, yes, he has, but he was not in the way. He was not in the way. And that bothers him. And because it bothered him, he hated it. He hated them so much. So what is happening actually when and this is going to the explanation of when parents told us as kids, they are bullying you because they're jealous of you. Is because they know those who are doing the bully and those who are being the nasty and those who are targeting you, they know the right way. They know that what you do is good, and they know that they are not in it. And because they are not in it, although they know it, it taps their conscience, and they feel bad, and they start feeling uncomfortable with themselves. So when they're feeling uncomfortable with themselves, what are they going to do? They're going to deflect. And they're going to deflect it where? Right back at you. Right back at you. They're going to deflect. And this deflection is coming out of fear of handling it, and uncomfortability, not being comfortable acknowledging the truth of the matter. And this is really what is happening also with at work, but also happening with anti-Semitism. There is no science for that. The only thing about that is that there is, like the bullies, jealousy. And what does the bully usually do? The bully usually will be jealous, will attack, and then play a victim. Oh, I am like this, look. We see some people that are acting like this when they attack somebody, and then they fall on the ground like, oh, I didn't do anything. He pushed me. He said all these words and all these all these kind of things. That's what the bully does. That's what the bully does. So it's not good that induces evil. It's the evil that induces evil. The good is a mirror. The good is a mirror to our face to say, truth has no emotions, right? The good, instead of good, we'll say truth. Truth has no emotions. Truth presents itself as is. This is truth. Hello, I'm truth, right? Anything that is not in truth, outside of truth, will deflect back, and we'll say, we don't like this. We don't like that. We don't like that. And this is what's happening with the nations of the world and people that are calling for the extermination of Jews, and are not rising up to say, wait. Before you're going and attacking, Israel is doing this to Gaza, and what happened? What instigated this? And it's still happening. Kidnapped are still in Gaza. People that are being suffering, many people died because of that, because of the instigation of the bully that then cries victim. I'm victim. Well, what happened? And the world falls for that. Because the world also doesn't want to see the truth. So they go with that who is making the noise. Saying, oh, no, we don't want. It's the same. It's all ties into it, and we'll bring it down to our daily life. We'll look at people at work, places at work, people that are in school, how they are reacting, how they are responding to you, or how they are starting something with you. Now, I remember. I'll never forget that first grade. I'll never forget that first grade. I'm in school, and we were sitting in a table of like a square table, so there were like I think like 6 people or around 6 kids or 4 kids around the table, and suddenly one of the girls starts saying, "Oh, I lost my new pencil. I got my mom got me a new pencil. I lost my new pencil. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is." And so a girl at my table, who she was always, I say always from my memory, but always did all these kind of like actions. She said, "Oh, probably iLan took it." I was like, "Wait, what happened? What?" I didn't know the other girl. It was just, it's like sometime in the first grade when I remember the names. It's funny. It's like Oli and Onit. It's crazy. It's like stuff that is implemented in our psyche that is staying there. And I was like, I don't know. So I told her I didn't take your purse. So this other girl that was at my table, she said, yeah, it's probably at your in your little box of pencil boxes. We had pencil boxes. You open it and there are 2 levels. You take the plastic out or something. I said, I didn't take it, and I innocently I opened the box and I said, there is nothing. She said, look under. And I look under, and there was the pencil of that girl. And right at that time, I knew I knew that she set me up. I knew that she stuck the pencil in my thing to blame me. Right now, the shame and everything as a kid, and even the teacher said, iLan, how can you do such a thing? Like even the teacher was brainless at that time. She's like, didn't see that my reaction. I was like, I didn't do this. She did it probably. I didn't do this. But this stays in our now. Those actions, when they're done in these kind of ages, what can happen is that the person who was bullied suddenly start, and you may notice it at work, you may notice it in school, you may notice it in other situations, when you're being attacked, 1, 2, you start, if you're not confident in yourself, you start doubting yourself. Doubt. The doubt is many times more dangerous than the action itself, because it's just the doubt, it's the thought. It's the thought that starts it. By the way, the doubt is numerical value is zaken, which is an elder of a community or an elder something, right? It's interesting, which is also a numerical value of a word of wisdom, a synonym of wisdom. It's interesting to see how all these things are tied together. So, and wisdom is a collection of experiences that we learn from. Right. So what happened, I remember at that time, I felt crushed. I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. Actually, it was yesterday. Because in spiritual journey, there is no yesterday, tomorrow is, everything is. And so I remember I started crushed. And that was, in addition to where I come from my family, it was an additional crush and doubt. So when somebody is bullying, then there is an effect that can be caused. There is a dent in the car, and then the person who was bullied potentially could start doubting themselves. Although they didn't do anything, and that bully just bullied something and just said something. So this is something that is, and that's why affirmations and gratitude and recognizing what we have every morning is a crucial part in continuing. So somebody who is not in good, somebody who is not in the truth, let's put it this way, somebody who is not in truth may and will develop hate to what is truth. Okay? Somebody who is not in truth may and will develop hate towards truth, to what is true. And that's interesting. And now we see that every day. We see it every step of the way, in some small quantities, in big quantities. And so that's where also the jealousy comes in. When parents said, "Oh, he's just jealous," or when Bilam was like, "He's just jealous of what the Israelites have, and he wants it, but he doesn't want to be part of it," right? Later on, King Saul went to a cast speller, a woman, but it's called Malabaov, and I don't know the word in English for that, but it's somebody who brings up spirits that the person can directly talk with them, not like symbols or signs or any of those things. And so it brought Samuel and everything, but one of them they brought up Bilam, that same prophet from this portion. And he asked him, so who is the righteous, who was the right out of them all, right? Up there in the world. He said, Israel, but stay away from them. Don't be with them. Get away. How can you're in the world of truth. How can you say, if you're in the world of truth, how can you say something negative about the same thing, about Israel? You know that that's truth. So he talks about in Gemara and in other books as well, that when we are here in the physical, we still have time to correct or to nudge ourselves back to truth. The truth of our spiritual journey, the truth of God, the truth, right? We have still time because we can still fix in actions. If somebody is too angry or somebody is talking in a certain way, there's time to work it. But once a person passes, they pass as they left the world. So they cannot really shift what was already created, right? So and so that's really about the truth. If somebody is not in truth, they will develop and may develop hate for truth, and it's all again in our mouth and how we speak. And interesting, those bullies, one of the things with the bullies is that many times people think that if a bully comes to you and he's angry and he's charging at you and he's angry. I remember a time when I was filming my documentary in Israel, and a woman in prostitution approached me. She was drunk, she was high, she was on drugs and something. Somebody who I knew at the shelter that I was filming, she approached me with scissors, wanted to stab me, and I just talked calmly to her, eye level, seeing her, calling her name, and just communicating with her. And then it deflected that. It deflected that stabbing attempt, I will, if anything else to call it anything else. King Solomon says, Lashon raka tishbor garem. A soft tongue can break even the hardest bone in the body of an animal. Like there are certain bones that are extremely hard, like the thigh, if we're talking about a human. But there are certain a garem is a certain bone in an animal that is unbreakable. It's just like, so a soft tongue can penetrate so deep that can deflect any situation. So many times people think that bullies who are charging and who are angry and coming to you, you should respond with force. And no, because that's what they know. That's where they operate on. Sometimes it could work just to bring the person to a crack and then enter. But really what it is you'll be surprised that bullies, when we talk soft to them and we talk eye level and with their name, personalizing everything, how they suddenly melt like butter. And then it was talking about, King Solomon also was talking about pen sfatayim. In one verse he's talking, you will talk with your mouth, peh. And the other place, when he's talking to please somebody, he says you'll talk with your lips. What's the difference between the mouth and lips? He's saying that when you talk with your mouth, somebody who is wise, when you talk with your mouth, all the wisdom, everything is there. Everything comes out. Sometimes the truth comes out, and the truth, again, has no emotions. We bring our spices to the conversation, and sometimes when you're talking to somebody and you want to penetrate their tough shield or to get to them or to satisfy them, we sometimes need to use our lips. And sometimes we need to use our lips, aside from drinking water, we need to use our lips, meaning it's like lip service almost, like talking what we want the other person to hear. So we talk in a way that is penetratable, but maybe it's not everything that I think. And that is many times good to do to deflect a situation, to let a situation pass. So although I can say to him, look, I understand you're smart, I can see that. Maybe I think he's dumb as a 2x4, I don't know. But when I'm in a situation, when I'm faced with a situation, when we're faced with a situation, sometimes we have to say things that are not really what we think, but it's a lip service to penetrate and to deflect a certain situation. So, with that said, thank you for being here. And again, remember, if one is not in truth, they will and may develop hate for truth and for whoever represents it. Why? Because it shakes them. Be in truth. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much. Much love. Bye-bye.